The Phoenix Local Organizing Committee will make its final presentation to the NCAA on July 11th. Bob and Roz Wattel were married for 49 years when Parkinson's disease ultimately claimed Bob's life in March. Yes, that's right. I stopped by the Baffert family home in Nogales, Arizona to take a look at how the simple life on a cattle ranch. The British Open played out this weekend in Scotland. You may not be an impressive golfer yourself, but our reporter Scotty Gange found a little piece of history that makes golf accessible for everyone. Have you ever wondered where contestants of the popular show American Ninja Warrior got their start? Well, look no further than Scottsdale. An angler practices by studying which areas of the lake are heavily populated with bass. To do this, they use these graphs or fish finders. DC Ranch Village Center here in Scottsdale is one of the many different facilities where high school students can train for tennis. The threads are posted onto apps such as Snapchat, which can be seen and shared publicly throughout the internet. The gym rate is $109 monthly, but Marty says he doesn't let that price keep any of the fighters away. University of Phoenix Stadium is also undergoing a $100 million renovation as well. So maybe one day you'll be able to see his jersey hung up and represented like other Paralympic athletes. He and his father built a straightaway 400-yard racetrack right here in these pastures. Former Arcadia High School tennis star Jillian Rasmussen is one of the best in the state. In 2017, Rasmussen led Arcadia to the 5A team championship and won the title in doubles. But Rasmussen says her success is due to the nonstop training she's done outside of school.
High school is really fun, and it's like a good learning experience, but it's not nearly as competitive as practice here or tournaments with the USTA.
Rasmussen trained at a Scottsdale facility for 11 years, and those lessons can be pricey. Data compiled by Cronkite News suggests that high school teams in Arizona who routinely finish in the top 4 of the state tournament come from schools that have lower percentages of students on free or reduced lunch programs. This data suggests that tennis programs thrive in more affluent communities.
If you're actively taking privates and coming 6 days a week, it can cost $800 to $1,000 a month, so tennis isn't cheap.
DC Ranch Village Center here in Scottsdale is one of the many different facilities where high school students can train for tennis. But in other areas of Arizona, like Nogales, facilities like this are uncommon.
You know, there's not a ton of tennis courts, there's not a ton of tennis coaches, so it's a rather small community.
There are 41 public high schools in Arizona with boys tennis programs. Of the 7 schools that had top 4 finishes in team, singles, and doubles more than 5 times in the last 5 state tournaments, 6 of them have less than 20% of their students on free or reduced lunch programs in 2017. Private schools that charge tuition are also very successful. Brophy Prep had 12 top 4 finishes in the last 5 years.
Our top 8 to 9 guys do their own training with either lessons or clinics that they go to. And farther back in the ladder, like there are guys who still go to practice or go to clinics, but maybe go twice a week. Like these guys are regularly going, they're practicing 5-6 times a week.
However, some schools like Nogales High, which has nearly 70% of its students on free or reduced lunch, are able to be successful. The Apache's boys team has 2 top 4 finishes in the last 5 state tournaments.
A lot of the ones that are more serious will actually drive up to Tucson and take their lessons up in Tucson, where there's obviously a significant amount of tennis and coaches and private clubs.
Regardless of whether an athlete gets pricey lessons or not, both Cutler and Chalmers believe high school play provides an opportunity to learn team dynamics and unity, plus gives them a chance to play in college. In Scottsdale, Stephanie Shields, Cronkite News.
Welcome to bass fishing.
They're big, they're bold, they're bass. Amateur and elite anglers alike fish for competitive sport, but bass fishing has a younger generation exchanging basketballs for fishing rods.
I mean, I've played all the other sports, basketball, baseball, football, but fishing just caught me.
High school anglers like Taj White compete in tournaments run by clubs such as Arizona Bass Nation. Teams consist of 2 high school anglers and a boat captain, and the anglers fish for 5 bass, where points are determined by which team has the biggest haul in pounds. Bass fishing popularity is greater in southeastern states such as Kentucky, Tennessee, and East Texas. In Arizona, bass fishing is not an AIA sanctioned sport, so all expenses come out of pocket or from sponsorships.
You have to pay for an entry fee, and all the entry fee monies that we generate go towards the national championship qualifiers.
You know, baseball, you're like, hey, you got your glove and cleats? You know, that's it, you know.
But bass fishing can also bring in money for the anglers. Some colleges offer bass fishing scholarships to students to fish for their teams, and other schools like ASU and Northern Arizona have fishing clubs where anglers compete in the college series.
They're fishing for full ride scholarships at national championship tournaments. They're getting, $1,000 scholarships per team.
An angler practices by studying which areas of the lake are heavily populated with bass. To do this, they use these graphs or fish finders to see where the bass are hiding.
They don't just show up and go fish. They do a lot of homework, just like other athletes do with football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever. They train.
Up next for Taj, he finishes up his senior year with Arizona Bass Nation this season and prepares for college. In Phoenix, Stephanie Shields, Cronkite News.